Everyone, it's Amy, producer and presenter of the Eerie Excursions podcast, the podcast that collects eerie tales from around the UK as told by local tour guides and experts. So again, I'm going to remind you once again that the second season comes out on the 17th of September, so be so sure to subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast so you don't miss it. But in the meantime, I've been doing a little bit of a deep dive this week into season one, getting some highlights of each episode. So today I'll be doing a recap of Leeds Library. So it's the first venture up to Yorkshire, and this is where Leeds Library sits on the map. You can see it's right in the city centre. So despite being in the middle of this very, new cosmopolitan city, it's very oldie-worldy inside. Now, as you can see from the picture, the library was established in 1768 as a proprietary subscription library. So essentially, it's a library where you have to pay to be a member of. In fact, it's the oldest surviving library of this kind in the British Isles. So you still have to be a member to access the library's archives and books. So where it currently sits at the moment is not where it was built in 1768. It moved to its current location in 1808. But it still is obviously an old building, still has lots of spooky tales to tell. So this episode was very different to other episodes in that it's split into two. So the first half, my guide is Matthew. Now, he does ghost tours around Leeds, and he does it sort of in a character known only as the mysterious librarian. Now, as I said, with old buildings comes spooky tales. And actually, the first tale I want to share with you isn't a modern ghost story. So it's a ghost story that happened in real life. It's not, like a Charles Dickens story or anything like that. It's from 1884, and it was recalled by a member of staff at the time called John McAllister. Now here is a clip of Matthew recounting that tale as the librarian character.
I made my way along the passage, which had a corner behind which I thought my thief might be lying in wait, into the main room. Here I saw no one, but the room was large and encumbered with bookcases. I called out loudly to the intruder to show himself. Then I saw a face, looking round one of the bookcases. I say looking round, but it had an odd appearance, as if the body were in the bookcase, as the face came so closely to the edge, and I could see no body. The face was pallid and hairless, and the orbits of his eyes were very deep.
So the second half of the episode is an interview with a current member of staff, a current librarian. Her name is Anna, and she has lots of ghostly stories, which kind of proves that, the ghost stories are still happening. They're still modern. One story she tells me, she said, oh yeah, that happened just a week ago from the date of recording. So the clip that I want to share with you is Anna's story she has of the basement. Now, the clip you see is of the main library. It's not the basement, but the story is really great. So here it is anyway.
And I went down to the basement and I think the basement was majorly haunted. I hated going down there. It was darker and dingy than it is now. On this occasion, I went downstairs, I opened the door, and I could hear the clacking of typewriters. And usually if somebody's messing around with a typewriter, they just prod the buttons. But this was clack, 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 like somebody was typing.
So, a lot of the places I visit, you can go and visit yourself, or you can go and book on a tour yourself. So the Leeds Library is one, like I said, you have to be a member, but the stories are still just absolutely fascinating there. As always, these videos are just like a really small snippet into the episode. Matthew has more stories for me, Anna has more stories for me. Definitely go check out the episode. It's available to listen to now. I'll put a link to the podcast playlist below. And like always, remember to subscribe so you don't miss when season 2 comes out on the 17th of September.